The storm screamed across the empty land, carrying dust, ice, and a silence that felt too heavy to be natural. Captain Ray Walker pressed his coat closer to his chest and kept moving through the ruins of the old colony. The human outpost had been quiet for days now. No signals, no signs of life. Only whispers through the comms. Something about a ship crash, something not human. Ray was tired. His boots sank into frozen mud as he looked around the broken metal walls and shattered glass. This planet, Arcton 4, was supposed to be safe, but now it felt haunted. Then he saw her. At first, he thought it was a shadow, something small lying beside a burnt shuttle piece. But when he got closer, his breath stopped. It was a girl, maybe 17, her skin pale blue and her body shaking hard. Her clothes were torn, her hair silver like moonlight, and her eyes closed tight as if fighting a nightmare. She wasn't human. Ray knelt down. Her breathing was weak, but she was alive. Hey, can you hear me?" he said softly, checking her pulse. Her skin was cold like ice, but smooth, too smooth she didn't answer. Only a faint sound escaped her lips, a whisper that didn't sound like any Earth language. He looked around. No one, no ships, just that burning silence. Something deep inside him said he should walk away. The interstellar command had warned them. Do not interfere with unknown species. But Ray wasn't that kind of man. He couldn't leave her to die. He pulled off his coat and wrapped it around her trembling body. She was light, almost weightless. He lifted her in his arms, her silver hair brushing against his neck. As he started back toward his shelter, the storm grew stronger, almost as if the planet itself didn't want him to take her. Inside the small outpost, the heater barely worked. Ray laid her on the cot, covered her with blankets, and stared. Her face was calm now, soft, innocent. But there was something strange. Tiny symbols glowed faintly on her skin, like living tattoos. They pulsed, slow and rhythmic, as if syncing with her heartbeat. "What are you?" he whispered. He reached for his scanner, but before he could start, her hand moved, fast, grabbing his wrist. Her eyes opened. Ray froze. Her eyes were bright silver, glowing, filled with fear and something ancient. She looked around, breathing fast, ready to fight. Where am I?" she asked in broken English, her voice trembling. "You're safe," Ray said. "You crashed. I found you outside in the snow. Don't touch the beacon," she said quickly, looking around for something. Her gaze stopped at a small metal sphere lying on the floor beside the cot. It pulsed with faint red light. Ray frowned. "Beacon? You mean that thing?" "Please," she whispered, her voice full of terror. "Don't activate it. They'll come." "Who will come?" he asked, but she turned away, closing her eyes tight. Outside, thunder cracked. But it wasn't thunder. It was too heavy, too sharp. Ray stepped to the window and saw lights moving in the clouds, not lightning, but ships. "Command drones," he muttered, but deep down he knew they weren't human. He turned back to the girl. "Who's coming for you?" Her eyes opened again, glowing brighter now. "My mother," she said softly. "And you don't want to meet her." Ray felt the air freeze, the ground shook. The beacon on the floor pulsed faster, sending waves of blue light into the air. Ray rushed to grab it, but the girl screamed, "Don't! It's too late." The light burst, painting the whole room in blue fire. Every screen in the outpost flickered to life. Alien symbols, unknown energy readings. Somewhere above, a voice echoed, deep, cold, not human. "My child has been touched by a human." Ray's heart raced. The storm outside grew violent again. The beacon shattered, sending shards across the floor. The girl covered her ears, tears in her silver eyes. "She found me," she whispered. "She's coming." Ray looked at the sky through the glass. A dark shadow appeared among the clouds, and massive, glowing with alien runes descending toward the planet. And in that moment, he realized, saving that girl might have just doomed every human on Arcton 4. The outpost shook as the shadow above grew darker. Captain Ray Walker stood frozen, staring through the cracked window. The clouds glowed electric blue, and from within them something massive moved, a shape too large to be human-made. It was like a floating fortress, alive and breathing. The alien girl sat up weakly on the cot, still wrapped in Ray's coat. Her silver eyes reflected the light outside. She whispered something under her breath, words in a language he couldn't understand. The glowing marks on her skin began to shimmer again, brighter this time, as if they were answering the voice in the storm. Ray turned toward her. "What is that thing in the sky?" Her gaze stayed fixed on the window. "That's not a ship," she said slowly. "It's her." "Her?" he repeated. "You mean your mother?" She nodded, her voice trembling. "You shouldn't have helped me. Now she knows you touched me. She can see through me," Ray frowned. "See through you? That doesn't even make sense." But before he could say another word, the lights in the room flickered off. Every screen went black. Then a deep hum filled the air, low and steady, vibrating through the metal floor. Outside, the snowstorm stopped, frozen mid-motion. Even the wind seemed afraid to move. Then came the voice again. Human. It wasn't from the comms. It wasn't in the room. It was inside Ray's head. He staggered, clutching his ears, but there was no escaping it. The voice was everywhere. Inside the walls, the air, the very atoms around him. "You have taken what is mine." Ray looked at the girl. She was crying silently, her hands shaking. "She's talking to you," she said. "Through the signal. Through me." "Tell her I'm not her enemy," Ray said quickly. "Tell her I saved your life." The girl shook her head. "She doesn't care about life. Only control." The hum grew louder. The outpost trembled as if the world itself was rejecting them. Every metal beam groaned under pressure. The beacon fragments on the floor began to rise slowly, spinning in the air, glowing like burning stars. Ray grabbed the girl's arm. "We need to move, now." He pulled her toward the door, but when he opened it, a wave of blinding light hit him. He covered his eyes and saw figures outside. Tall, pale, with armor that seemed to shift like liquid metal. They weren't walking. They were gliding across the ground, moving in perfect silence. The girl gasped. "Sentinels," she whispered. "My mother's soldiers." "Soldiers? Great," Ray muttered, pulling his blaster from his side. "Any chance they like talking?" "They don't talk. They erase." The first sentinel raised its hand. A beam of white light shot out, slicing through the air and burning a line across the ground. Ray dove aside, pulling the girl down with him. "Run," he shouted. They dashed through the snow, the ground shaking behind them as beams of energy hit the outpost, tearing it apart piece by piece. The entire structure exploded in a flash, sending flames and debris flying into the dark sky. Ray's ears rang. He couldn't hear her voice, only the sound of his heart pounding. They stumbled down a hill, landing behind a half-buried transport vehicle. The girl coughed, her body trembling. "You can't stop them," she said. "They don't stop until I'm gone." Ray wiped the blood from his lip and looked at her. "Then we'll give them something else to chase." He climbed into the wrecked transport, pressing buttons on the half-dead console. By miracle, a small engine coughed to life. "You said she can see through you," Ray said. "Can you block her signal?" The girl looked unsure. "Maybe, but I'll need power. A lot of it." Ray grinned slightly. "We've got a power core under the colony mines. If we reach it, maybe we can overload the field." The girl hesitated. "If we do that, she'll know where we are." "She already knows," he said simply. "Let's make it count." He slammed the controls and the old transport jerked forward, speeding through the storm. Behind them, the alien fortress lowered closer to the ground, its underside glowing like the mouth of a god. Inside the vehicle, the girl placed her hand on the control panel. Her glowing marks extended, connecting to the system. The lights flickered and the transport began moving faster than it should have been able to. Ray glanced at her. "What's your name, kid?" She looked at him with tired eyes.
"Lyra. All right, Lyra, let's not die today." She smiled faintly, but it didn't last.
Her eyes shifted toward the sky again. The fortress was following them, its shadow stretching over the land like a living storm. And far above, the alien mother watched, a being made of light and thought, her voice whispering across the stars. "Run, little human. You can't hide from a god." The transport roared across the frozen wasteland, its old engines screaming against the cold air. Captain Ray Walker gripped the steering handles tightly, eyes fixed on the dark horizon. Behind them, lightning flashed through the clouds, painting the alien fortress in glowing blue light. It wasn't chasing them, it was searching for them. Beside him, Lyra sat quietly, her silver hair flowing in the dim light. Her eyes were distant, unfocused, as if she was listening to something Ray couldn't hear. "Lyra," Ray said over the noise. "What's she doing up there?" Lyra didn't answer at first. Her glowing marks pulsed faintly along her arms. "She's talking," she whispered. "To the ships, to the world. She's filling the air with her voice." Ray frowned. "I don't hear anything." You're lucky, Lyra said softly. Her voice breaks minds. The old transport hit a bump and sparks flew from its side. The radar flickered, showing faint dots moving behind them. Too many. Ray slammed a fist on the console. Damn it. Those sentinels are still coming. Lyra's expression changed. She's using them to track me. They can sense my blood. Ray glanced at her. Then you'll need to make sure they can't. I told you, she said, looking down. If I block her signal, it'll hurt me. She built me from her own energy. Ray stared for a moment. She built you? Lyra nodded weakly. I'm not born. I'm made. A piece of her. Separated. For a long moment there was silence between them except for the howl of the wind. Ray didn't know what to say. He'd seen many strange things in the galaxy, but a being made from another's essence, that was something else entirely. Then, the radio crackled. Static, then a whisper. Human. Ray froze. He turned the volume down, but the voice only grew louder, pressing into his mind. You carry my child. Return what is mine. Lyra. Ray shouted. She's in my head again. Lyra grabbed his hand. Don't listen. She'll twist your thoughts. She can make you see things that aren't real. Ray squeezed his eyes shut. The world around him began to distort. The sky turned red. The snow melted into liquid light and faces appeared in the storm. Faces of people he had lost, calling his name. His dead crew. His brother. His mother. He clenched his teeth. Not real. Not real. Then Lyra screamed and the illusion broke. The vision vanished, leaving only the white wasteland again. Ray panted heavily, sweat on his forehead. She almost had me. Lyra's eyes glowed bright with pain. She's testing you. She wants to know why you care. Ray looked at her. Because you were dying out there, that's why. She doesn't understand that, Lyra said sadly. Humans save because they feel. My kind doesn't feel. We only obey. The transport began to slow. The fuel gauge blinked red. Ray sighed. We're out of power. We'll need to move on foot. They stopped near the entrance of the old mining colony. Massive tunnels led underground, dark, ancient, and silent. Ray grabbed his gear and helped Lyra out. The cold bit deep, but the wind had gone still, unnaturally quiet. As they entered the tunnels, blue veins of crystal glowed faintly on the walls. Lyra touched one and it pulsed under her hand. These crystals, she said, they store life energy. Maybe enough to block her signal. Ray nodded. Good. Then let's use them. He began setting up a small generator while Lyra stood beside the crystals, closing her eyes. Her skin marks brightened, spreading light across the walls. The crystals started to hum, connecting to her energy. But then the ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lyra's eyes snapped open. She found us. Outside, the sky turned black again. From the fortress above, a massive beam of light shot toward the ground, striking somewhere near the tunnels. The entire mountain trembled. Ray grabbed Lyra's arm. We have to move deeper. They ran through the winding tunnels, the beam's shockwave chasing them like fire. Rocks fell around them. The deeper they went, the louder a strange noise became, a heartbeat slow and heavy echoing through the stone. What is that? Ray shouted. Lyra's face went pale. It's her heart. A fragment of it. She left part of herself here. Long ago, Ray stopped. Her heart is on this planet? Lyra nodded. That's why she can't leave. That's why she wants me. I'm the missing piece, Ray's mind raced. If we destroy it, she dies, Lyra finished softly. And maybe, I do too. They stared at each other as the heartbeat grew louder, shaking the tunnel walls. The crystals glowed brighter, reacting to her presence. Lyra took a deep breath. She's coming, she whispered. And when she arrives, this world won't survive the meeting. Ray stepped closer, gripping his blaster. Then we make sure she never leaves. The air inside the tunnels grew colder the deeper they went. Frost climbed the walls like veins, glowing with faint blue light. Captain Ray Walker led the way, his flashlight cutting through the fog. Beside him, Lyra moved silently, her silver eyes shimmering like small stars. Far above them, the alien fortress still rumbled, sending tremors through the ground. Each step they took echoed against the stone, like footsteps inside a giant sleeping creature. Ray stopped at a bend where the path split into three. Left or right? He asked. Lyra tilted her head, listening. Down, she whispered. Ray frowned. Down? There's no... Before he could finish, the floor cracked beneath them. The ice broke open and both of them fell into darkness. They landed hard on a metal platform deep underground. Ray coughed, his flashlight rolling away. The light revealed massive walls covered in alien carvings, shapes that moved when you looked at them too long. Lyra stood slowly, touching her arm where her marks were glowing brighter than ever. "We're close," she said softly. Ray picked up his flashlight and shone it forward. The tunnel ahead opened into a vast chamber, and in the middle of it floated a giant crystal, half buried in ice, half alive. Inside it pulsed a dim red light, beating slow and steady. Ray took a breath. "That's it, isn't it?" Lyra nodded. Her heart. The sound of the pulse filled the air, deep and heavy, like thunder under the earth. The closer they got, the louder it became until Ray could feel it in his bones. He stepped closer. "If we destroy it, what happens?" Lyra hesitated. "She will die, but the energy might destroy this planet too. It's connected to everything, even the atmosphere." Ray stared at the crystal. "So either we kill her and lose the planet, or we run and let her destroy us all anyway." Lyra lowered her eyes. "Yes." Ray walked around the heart, studying it. Strange metal cables ran from the ice into the ground, like veins spreading through the entire planet. On one of the walls he noticed something in human markings. He brushed away the frost. "Wait, this is Earth script." Carved into the wall were the words Project Gaia, Specimen Zero Containment Site. Ray froze. This was human-made. Lyra's face turned pale. "Your people found her first?" Ray stared at the writing. "Looks like it. We must have buried her here long before this colony was abandoned. Maybe they tried to study her. Maybe they thought they could control her." Lyra stepped closer to the heart, placing a hand on the glowing ice. The light responded instantly, pulsing faster. "She's angry," Lyra whispered. "She remembers." Suddenly the air shimmered. A projection appeared above the crystal. A holographic figure of a woman, tall and radiant, her eyes bright with white fire. "Human," the voice said. "You stand before what your kind imprisoned. You stole my child. You tore my body apart." Ray aimed his blaster at the projection. "We didn't steal anything. I saved her." The hologram tilted its head. "You think mercy makes you innocent? You meddle in the affairs of gods," Lyra shouted. "Mother, stop." "They didn't know." The voice softened, but only slightly. "Daughter, you were made to return to me. You belong to the stars, not this broken world." Lyra stepped back, tears forming in her eyes. "I don't want to belong. I want to be free," the hologram glared. "Freedom is a human word. You were never meant to speak it." The chamber trembled. Cracks spread across the walls as energy surged from the heart. The cables on the floor began to glow red hot. Ray shouted over the noise, "Lyra! We need to stop it before it blows." Lyra looked at him, her eyes filled with fear and fire. "If I link with it, I might control it. But if she takes me over, you won't let her," Ray said. "You're stronger than her." Lyra hesitated, then nodded. "If I fail?" And she placed both hands on the heart. Instantly her body lit up, the marks on her skin burning like fire. The entire chamber shook violently. The hologram screamed, her voice echoing in every direction. "You cannot separate from me," Lyra cried out, pain searing through her. "I am not you." The crystal's glow exploded outward, blinding Ray. He shielded his face as the world turned white. When the light faded, Lyra was on the floor, motionless. The crystal's glow had dimmed, almost gone. Ray ran to her side. "Lyra, hey, stay with me." She opened her eyes weakly. "She's gone. For now." Ray looked at the heart. The red light was faint like a dying ember. "We need to finish this before she wakes again." Lyra nodded slowly. "Then we'll need something stronger than a blaster." Ray smiled grimly. Good thing humans like explosions. They both turned toward the tunnel entrance, unaware that high above, the fortress had begun to descend again, and something inside it was waking up. The ground above them groaned like a living thing. Dust fell from the tunnel ceiling as the mountain shook. Captain Ray Walker steadied himself against the wall. "She's moving," he said quietly. Lyra opened her eyes, still weak from connecting to the heart. "No," she whispered. "She's coming." A deep rumble rolled through the air. Outside, the sky turned blood red. The alien fortress, vast as a continent, was descending through the clouds. Its underside glowed with thousands of lights that moved like eyes searching the ground. Ray peered up through a fissure in the cave ceiling. "Looks like she's not waiting anymore." Lyra stood shakily, pressing her hand against the glowing ice wall. She knows I touched the heart. She felt it. Ray checked his weapon, though he knew it wouldn't matter against something that size. Then we need to finish this before she lands. They moved quickly through the tunnels. The hum of the heart followed them like a slow drumbeat. At one corner, Ray found an old mining cache, boxes marked with faded warning symbols. Inside were explosives, heavy and dusty but still intact. He grinned. Jackpot. Lyra stared at the bombs, her face uncertain. That much power could destroy half this mountain. Good, Ray said. If her heart is under here, we make sure it never beats again. Lyra shook her head. You don't understand. She's part of this planet. If it dies, the planet dies too. Ray's eyes hardened. If we don't stop her, there won't be a planet left to save. She looked down, silent for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. Then we do it together. As they prepared the charges, a strange calm fell over the tunnels. The air vibrated softly, as if whispering in another language. Lyra paused, frowning. She's speaking again. Ray froze. What's she saying? Lyra's voice grew distant, almost trance-like. She says she's proud of me. That she made me to understand humans and to test them. Ray turned sharply. Test us? Lyra nodded weakly. You were never meant to meet me by accident. She sent me. The crash wasn't random. The words hit Ray like ice water. You're saying she planned all this? Lyra's silver eyes met his. She wanted to see if humans would save something they feared. And you did, Ray cursed under his breath. So all this was a damn experiment. Lyra's expression softened. Maybe, but I'm not her anymore. I chose you. Before Ray could answer, the tunnel walls began to glow red. The fortress had reached the surface. A beam of light pierced the mountain above, melting ice and stone like butter. The air turned hot. Time's up, Ray said, grabbing the detonator. We blow it and run. But Lyra didn't move. She was staring upward, her expression full of pain. She's here. A column of white light shot through the ceiling, striking the chamber floor. The temperature dropped instantly. From within the beam, a shape appeared. A towering holographic figure of Lyra's mother. Her voice echoed like thunder. You cannot destroy me. You are inside me. Ray aimed his blaster. Lady, I've had enough of your god talk. The hologram ignored him, focusing on Lyra. Come home, my child. The humans have done their part. Lyra shook her head fiercely. I'm not your tool anymore. You are my echo, the mother said. Without me, you are nothing. Lyra stepped closer to the light. Then I'll be nothing. The energy around her exploded, a wave of silver light that cut through the chamber. Ray fell back, shielding his face. When he looked up, Lyra was standing inside the beam, glowing like a star. Ray, she shouted. You have to trigger it now. I'm not leaving you. She smiled faintly. You have to. Humanity needs a witness. The walls began to collapse as the mountain groaned. The heart inside the ice pulsed wildly, faster and faster. Ray hesitated, then slammed the detonator. The explosion was silent at first, a bloom of white light swallowing everything. The fortress above was struck by the blast. Its lights flickered, then dimmed. The holographic mother screamed as her form shattered into 1,000 fragments of light. The shockwave ripped through the clouds, sending debris into orbit. The mountain cracked open, spilling fire and ice into the sky. When the light faded, Ray lay half buried in snow. The fortress was gone. Only pieces of metal fell like burning rain. The air was quiet again. He sat up slowly, coughing. Lyra? No answer. Then he saw it, a faint glow in the snow, moving weakly. He stumbled toward it and found her lying among the shards, her eyes barely open. You did it, he said softly. Lyra smiled weakly. She's gone. For now. Ray took her hand. You're not nothing, Lyra. You're proof gods can bleed. Her eyes fluttered shut. Then maybe. Humans are gods too. The wind carried her final words away into the silence. Ray looked up at the sky where the fortress had been. If that's true, he whispered, then it's time we learn to act like one. Far above, the stars flickered and one of them blinked back. The world was quiet again. Snow drifted from a colorless sky, covering the ruins of the mountain. Captain Ray Walker sat beside Lyra's still body, his breath fogging in the frozen air. Around them, pieces of the alien fortress lay scattered like dead stars. The storm had ended, but the silence felt wrong, heavy, waiting. He pressed 2 fingers to Lyra's neck. A faint pulse, Weak but there. Still breathing, he whispered. Good girl. He lifted her carefully, wrapping her again in his torn coat. The cold bit through his gloves, but he ignored it. Above them, the clouds began to clear, revealing a night sky full of strange light. One star near the horizon flickered, then blinked. Once, twice, like an eye-opening. Ray frowned. That's new. Hours later, he reached the remains of the outpost, now just blackened metal and snow. He set Lyra down beside a half-working heater and tried to fix a comm panel. Static hissed. This is Captain Ray Walker, survivor of Arcton 4, he said into the mic. If anyone's out there, we need extraction. Nothing but wind. He sighed and leaned back, staring at Lyra. Her glowing marks had dimmed to a faint blue, but they still pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. She looked peaceful, almost human. Then the radio crackled. A voice, but mechanical, cold. Transmission received. Identify alien asset, Ray froze. Who is this? This is the Terran Defense Command, the voice replied. We tracked an energy burst from Arcton 4. Are you in possession of a non-human entity? Ray hesitated. He looked at Lyra. She's not an entity, he said quietly. She's alive. Repeat, Captain. Confirm capture or termination. Ray's jaw tightened. Negative. She's under my protection. There was a pause. Then static again. The connection died, Ray muttered. Great. Now they know. A low hum filled the air. Ray stepped outside and saw something breaking through the clouds. A ship, smaller than the fortress but human-made. Its engines burned bright red, descending fast. He ran back inside. Lyra, we've got company. The wrong kind. Her eyes opened slowly. Humans? Yeah, and I don't think they're here to help. Lyra sat up weakly, touching her chest. They'll take me. They'll use what's left of her energy. They'll make weapons. Ray loaded his blaster, shaking his head. Not if I can help it. Outside, the ship landed with a heavy thud. Snow blasted away as the doors opened and soldiers in black armor stepped out, helmets marked with the Terran defense symbol. A woman's voice came through a loudspeaker. Captain Walker, stand down. Hand over the alien for containment, Ray shouted back. She's not dangerous anymore. The woman's tone was sharp. You don't decide that. Ray turned to Lyra. We need to go. Can you walk? She nodded, though her steps were unsteady. They moved toward the back of the outpost, through the broken wall and into the frozen woods. The soldiers followed, lights cutting through the mist. Blaster fire cracked the silence. Ray returned a few shots, ducking behind a fallen tree. You okay? Lyra crouched beside him, her skin marks flickering. They're closing in. I can feel their energy. Then we make them lose it, Ray said. He aimed at a nearby ice ridge and fired. The heat split it open, sending a wave of snow crashing down the slope. The soldiers shouted as the avalanche swallowed them. For a moment there was quiet again. Then Lyra gasped. Her marks blazed bright silver. Something's calling me, Ray frowned. From where? She pointed upward. The star that blinked back. Ray followed her gaze. The same star now pulsed brighter, rhythmic like Morse code. A pattern. It's sending a message, Lyra whispered. It's her. No, not her. Something else. Something older. The ground trembled softly. From above, a streak of light descended, cutting through the atmosphere. It wasn't a ship. It looked like a comet, alive, weaving across the sky. Lyra's eyes widened. That's not from her. That's from the others. Ray's grip on his weapon tightened. Others? The ones she feared, Lyra said. The reason she came here. The reason she made me. The comet stopped mid-air, hovering high above the mountain ruins. The sky turned silver, and a voice, like calm, gentle, but vast, filled their minds. Child of the Fallen One. Human who defied the stars. You are seen. Lyra fell to her knees, shaking. They found me. Ray looked up, defiant. If you're gods too, we've had enough of you. The voice seemed to smile. We are not gods, human. We are witnesses. And now, so are you. A beam of light descended from the comet, wrapping both of them in warmth. Ray tried to move, but couldn't. Lyra's hand found his. Don't be afraid, she said softly. This isn't the end. The light flared, brighter than the sun, and then, just as suddenly, vanished. The snow settled. The soldiers arrived moments later, but there was no trace of Ray or Lyra. Only two sets of footprints leading into the sky, and a faint whisper in the wind. The stars remember who dared to care. The world was gone. Ray opened his eyes to a sky that wasn't a sky. It shimmered like liquid glass, colors shifting and bending in every direction. He wasn't standing on ground anymore, he was floating in light. Beside him, Lyra drifted too, glowing softly, her silver hair flowing like smoke. "Where are we?" Ray asked, his voice echoing strangely. Lyra looked around, her eyes wide with wonder. "Between worlds," she whispered. "This is the space where stars are born." Ray turned slowly. All around them, massive shapes floated, spheres of light spinning slowly. Each one pulsed like a heartbeat. They weren't stars. They were memories. Lyra touched one. The light unfolded, showing a scene. Ancient cities made of crystal, beings of light walking among them. A civilization older than anything human. "These are her memories," Lyra said softly. "My mother's kind." "The creators," Ray frowned. "If they were so powerful, why destroy themselves?" Lyra's expression grew sad. "They didn't mean to. They tried to control creation. They made life in their image. But life grew beyond them." Ray nodded slowly. "So you're proof they failed?" She looked at him. "Or proof they succeeded?" A soft wind stirred them, though there was no air. A shape appeared before them, tall, graceful, made of the same silver light as the stars. Its face was neither male nor female, but beautiful and terrible all at once. "Human," the voice said gently. "You are far from home." Ray's hand went to his weapon by instinct, but it wasn't there. "Yeah, I noticed." The being smiled faintly. "You destroyed one of our kind. The mother who lost herself to power." Ray glanced at Lyra. "I didn't do it alone." The being turned to Lyra. "You were her echo, her last creation, and yet you chose defiance." Lyra lowered her head. "I chose to live. A choice we once forgot how to make," the being said. It stepped closer. "You both carry something now. The spark of creation and the will of defiance. Together they are dangerous." Ray folded his arms. "What do you want from us?" The being tilted its head. "To offer a path. Humanity will one day reach the stars. And when you do, you'll find the ruins we left behind. You'll find the same temptation." Ray's voice was steady. "And if we make the same mistakes? Then you will end as we did." Silence. Only the soft hum of the light around them. Lyra stepped forward. "There's another way," she said. "Let humans remember. Let them feel. That's what makes them different." The being looked at her for a long time. Then to Ray, "Would you carry that message?" Ray hesitated. "Why me?" "Because you cared, even when it was impossible." He looked at Lyra, fragile, glowing, alive because he refused to walk away. He nodded. "Yeah, I'll carry it." The being raised a hand. A swirl of energy gathered around them, soft, bright, warm. "Then return to your world, witness. Tell them what you saw." Lyra grabbed Ray's hand, her eyes filled with light. "Ray, if we go back, I might not survive the crossing." He shook his head. "No, we do this together," she smiled sadly. "You humans never learn when to stop fighting." Ray grinned faintly. "And that's why we win." The light consumed them. For a moment, everything disappeared. Sound, thought, even time. When Ray opened his eyes again, he was lying on a medical bed inside a human ship. Machines beeped softly around him. A doctor leaned over. "You're awake, Captain." "You were found near Arcton 4's orbit. No life signs detected from anyone else." Ray sat up slowly. His body ached, but his mind was clear. "Lyra," the doctor frowned. "There was no one else, sir. Just you." Ray looked out the window. The stars burned quietly beyond the glass. And then, there it was again. One star blinked once, twice. He smiled. "Yeah, I see you." Weeks later, back on Earth, Ray stood before the Terran Council. They wanted answers. About the fortress, the alien, the explosion. He gave them a simple report. "The entity is gone. The planet is stable. But if you find any trace of their kind again, don't study it. Don't try to own it. Learn from it." The council members exchanged glances. "Captain, that's not protocol." Ray looked them in the eye. "Neither is survival." He walked out before they could respond. That night, standing alone under the stars, he opened his hand. Inside was a small shard of silver crystal, faintly pulsing, alive. Her voice whispered faintly in his mind. "The stars remember you, Ray Walker." He smiled. "And I remember you, Lyra." A shooting star crossed the sky, bright, Fast, beautiful. For a moment, Ray could almost hear laughter in the wind. And somewhere far away among the galaxies, a new world was forming, a place where creation and kindness could coexist. The universe had seen what a human heart could do, and it would never forget.